Hey there, I'm Jason. I'm German and I'm in the army. The 12th Motor Brigade. I know, interesting, huh? I didn't think so, and things weren't interesting for a while, until yesterday. I'm here to tell you my 3-year experience at Site Omega, from driving a patrol and inspecting trucks carrying suspicious cargo, to being put on guard duty at the base proper. So this mess all started when the Sarge came up to me and said, "Look, Jace, you've done a lot for the regiment and I thank you, but I need to ask you a favor. I need you on night patrol duty." "What?" I began. Now, I wouldn't have asked you if we had someone else available, but Heinrich's on leave. Carl's recovering from injuries and Fritz, well, let's not talk about him. You'll find instructions that I've written for you in the Hummer. See you tomorrow." And with that, he walked off. The next night, I got into the Hummer and was just about to start when I suddenly remembered the note that Sarge had left for me. I got it out of the cup holder, out of all places. Here's what it said. "Good evening, Jason. First off, I want to make one thing completely clear. This is not by any means a joke. You know I don't do jokes and your life may very well depend on it. Rule 1. Do not, under any circumstances, get out of the Hummer, ever, with the exception of rule number 5. Rule number 2. If the radio in the Hummer crackles to life, answer it, and if you hear anything other than my voice, shut it off. They are trying to locate you. Rule number 3. The patrol route is clearly marked with yellow signs. If you see any sign other than yellow, stop the Hummer and radio the base. We'll come and resolve the issue. Rule number 4. You'll most likely encounter an old man. Stop and ask him what he's doing. If he says that he's lost, point him in the direction of the nearest town, which is 3 clicks due west of here. If he says anything else, floor it. Run him over if you need to. Rule number 5. If by any point you need to go to the washroom, do it in under 3 minutes, because that's the time that it takes for them to find you. Rule number 6. If you encounter another Hummer during the patrol, hail them. If they respond, continue as usual. If not, stop the Hummer, shut off the engine, and pray to God that they didn't see you. Rule number 7. If you see anyone on the final third of the patrol, take the Glock 19 out of the glove compartment and shoot them, no matter who they are. If you haven't shot within 2 minutes of seeing them, you're screwed. Rule number 8. If at any point your Hummer breaks down, radio the base immediately, and someone will come pick you up. Rule number 9, and the most important one too. If you return to the base and see yourself waiting in your spot, contact security immediately and request that you be put in protective custody. The guards will understand, and they will tell you once they've dealt with the situation. And lastly, be careful out there. We've lost 2 soldiers out there already. Don't become the 3rd. Good luck. Sarge. Okay, so what did I just read? I thought to myself. Never mind, just get on with it. And so I started out on the patrol, with the guards in the towers holding their hands in some sort of prayer, and then they waved me through. The first few hours were peaceful, with the yellow signs telling me which part of the patrol that I was on. And I was at the 1/5 mark when the radio crackled to life, and it nearly made me hit my head on the roof. Number 2. If the radio in the Hummer crackles to life, answer it. And if you hear anything other than my voice, shut it off. They're trying to locate you. I almost lunged for the receiver and held it up to my ear. It was a woman weeping on the other end. I was paralyzed. I was trying to compose myself when the weeping turned into amused laughter. God dang it. I slammed the receiver down so hard that I cracked the case, and I booked it the heck out of there. I was petrified, and I didn't snap out of it until the 1/3 mark, and that's when I noticed the signs were blue. Number 3. The patrol route is clearly marked with yellow signs. If you see any sign other than yellow, stop the Hummer and radio the base. We'll come and resolve the issue." I slammed on the brakes and immediately radioed the base. "Command, come in," I said. "I'm on patrol and I noticed that these signs are blue." "Roger that," Sarge said. "Someone's on their way now. By the way you seem on edge, is anything wrong?" he asked. "Nope," I lied, not telling him what had happened. "Everything's as fine as it should be," Sarge said. "Okay then, well, someone's on their way. They'll reach your location in 5 minutes. Hold tight." After what seemed like 2 decades, a Jeep pulled up and someone stopped out. He told me to cover my eyes and ears and then proceeded to do some stuff that would likely result in me being banned if I described it. The next few miles were not eventful, except where I saw another Hummer in the road. Thankfully, when I hailed them, they responded. So, there's rule number 6 out of the way for now. When I got to the final 1/3 of the patrol, I was on edge. I thought that I heard screams from the woods, but I shrugged it off and kept on going. I had to slam on the brakes to avoid running over my wife. What the? I began to think, when I remembered. Number 7. If you see anyone on the final 1/3 of the patrol, take the Glock 19 out of the glove compartment and shoot them, no matter who they are. If you haven't shot them within 2 minutes of seeing them, you're screwed. FML. I reached for the gun, but I couldn't do it. Her eyes were begging me not to, and I didn't want to, but I knew that I had to or else I was dead. Tears rolling down my cheeks, I leaned out and I pulled the trigger. I cursed, to no one in particular. I just drove on with the knowledge of what I had done to my own wife. Now things were getting serious. I was approaching the spot where I saw him, or rather, me. I was just standing there, with a too wide, malicious smile on my face. Number 9. If you return to the base and see yourself waiting in your spot, contact security immediately and request that you be put in protective custody. The guards will understand and will tell you once they've dealt with the situation. And so I called the guards and they asked me what was wrong, and I just pointed at me since I was too shocked. The guards glanced from me to me and back again, nodded and escorted me to a private cell. After about 3 hours, the guards returned and let me out of the cell. Now, that's my patrol story. I'll get to the mysterious cargo shipments when I get some beer and psychological help. See you soon. So, a couple of things have happened in between my last update. First, I can confirm that I really didn't shoot my wife during my patrol last night, thank God, and that my post has changed. So the sergeant came up to me today and said, "Hey Jason, I heard about last night and I was impressed how you handled the situation. Most people wouldn't have made it back." "Thank you," I said. "Well, don't worry about it," he responded. "But I have a new job for you tonight. I need you to handle delivery security tonight." Okay, sir, I think I can handle it." "Don't worry, Jason. Heinrich's back and Carl is recovered, so they'll be joining you too. You start at 6:50 p.m. and finish at 5:15 a.m. Have a good one." "Good one, yeah, right," I thought as I got ready for my shift. The delivery section of the base was big. 4 trucks could fit in it, and there would still be room to spare. I saw Heinrich walk up to me. "Guten Tag, Jason," he said. "Oh, hey, Heinrich," I responded. "How's the family?" Good, but my son has a fever. Ready to start, Jason?" he asked. "Yeah, I am," I responded. "But where's Carl?" "Oh, he's at his post. But you need to hurry, your shift starts in 5 minutes. I thanked him and noticed a note pinned to a wall that said, "Delivery positions. Heinrich, rations. North entrance. Carl, medical supplies. Northwest entrance. Jason, mechanical supplies. Northeast entrance." So I need to head to the northeast entrance, I thought as I walked towards my post. I was still thinking about last night when I bumped into a door. My position was etched in bold on a brass plate on the door. Well, here I am, I thought, and then I turned the doorknob. It was unlocked. The room was cooler than it was outside, and it had a lever on the back wall, and a console with screens on the left. And in the very center, there is an item that made my blood run cold. It was a note with instructions on it. Cursing my bad fortune, I gingerly picked the note up. Here's what it said. Hello, guardsman. This note is to prepare you for your following shift at this post. Please read these instructions carefully and follow them to a T, or very unfortunate things will happen to you. Rule number 1. You only have mechanical supplies coming through here. If you see any truck marked otherwise, direct them to the appropriate entrance. Rule number 2. Our trucks have the base logo on the side of them, which is a white octagon with the Omega symbol inside. If you see trucks without said logo, alert security. Rule number 3. Lock the door at all times. Rule number 4. Between 11:50 and 12:30, do not exit the room. No truck should come through at this time, giving you no reason to go out. Rule number 5. Your squad mates have their own jobs to do. So if you hear knocking on your hopefully locked door, and hear your squad mates asking you to open up, ignore them. Rule number 6. Howling from the woods is natural. Screaming and or crying is not. If you hear the latter, get the mini Uzi from the drawer and pray that the door holds. Rule number 7. If you see anyone at the entrance, use the intercom to direct them to the civilian entrance. If they have no face, pull the lever at the back of the wall, which will close the gates and contact security. Rule number 8. If you're inspecting a truck and hear a music box playing, order the driver to open the back and shoot anything inside. Remember, you have machine parts and supplies. Nothing should be moving. Rule number 9. You will see a young woman in the room. She will give you useful items like extra magazines or spare batteries. Take what you need, but for the love of all things holy, don't say no. Rule number 10. This almost never happens, but if you see a red truck coming off the road, immediately close the gates and pray you hear the truck skid off the road, or else the cleaning crew will need to use a mop on you. This is not a prank nor a joke, and we are not responsible for whatever happens if you decide not to listen. Sincerely, base security. Oh great, this again, I thought while I pondered why I had agreed to this. Well, too late to back out, it's getting late and I need to start. Locking the door, I waved the first few trucks in. The first few hours were not eventful, with only a handful of trucks going to the wrong place, but I redirected them to either Heinrich's or Carl's post. But then I noticed a truck that had no visible symbol. Number 2, our trucks have the base logo on the side of them, which is a white octagon with the Omega symbol inside. If you see trucks without said logo, alert security. Come in, base security, I nearly yelled into the radio. There's a truck bearing no logo at the northeast entrance. Could you send someone to deal with the situation? Roger that, someone's on their way, the voice responded. About 2 minutes later, a guy in body armor tapped on my window and told me to look away, and then made some loud noises and then cursing broke out. When I turned around, the truck and the guy were gone. Confused, I continued on. It was now 11:50 and no trucks had come in, so I radioed Heinrich to ask how stuff was going along. Heinrich? Come in, Heinrich, I said. Oh, hello, Jason. Heinrich's cheerful voice filled the room. Hey, Heinrich, how are things going on your end? I asked. Oh, not much. Some drivers came from your gate, I believe. I could barely contain my laughter. Those idiots, I said. I got 3 of yours and 2 of Carl's. Speaking of, have you heard from Carl at all? No, I haven't, Heinrich said. But I'm sure he can handle them. It was here that I was interrupted by the loudest scream that I had ever heard. It sounded like the depths of hell were opening up on the other side of the door. Jason, what's happening? Heinrich yelled out, and I couldn't answer. Every regret in my life was running through my mind, and then... I'm fine, Heinrich. I looked at the time. It was at 12:30. Number 4. Between 11:50 and 12:30, do not exit the room. No truck should come through at this time, giving you no reason to go out. So, that's why I thought as I waved the next truck through. I can't believe I just noticed, but Site Omega is wag. So I finished the last few trucks, luckily without the music box, and was about to wrap up when I saw something on the camera. It was a red truck. Oh, heck no. Number 10. This almost never happens, but if you see a red truck coming off the road, immediately close the gates and pray you hear the truck skid off the road, or else the cleaning crew will need to use a mop on you. I dove for the lever and nearly pulled it out. The truck was just a mile away, but the gate was closing so slowly. I prayed that my death would be swift. But at the last minute I heard something swerve off the road and slam into the wall. Oh, thank God. Heinrich, check in. Carl, come in, I said. Here, said Heinrich. Here, said Carl. Okay, I need a nap. I'll see you guys after I've found more beer than last time and more psychological help. So I'm back at it again and in the hospital, treating some wounds after what happened tonight. If you're getting confused, I don't blame you, so let's get started. So, I was in my quarters recovering from my patrol and nightmarish delivery guard duty when a note was passed under my door. Here's what it said. Attention. It has come to the knowledge of the High Command that a known organization called Warrior Liberty Front, not to be confused with Washington Liberation Front, has been targeting military bases all over the country. As such, Command has ordered all soldiers with 3 years of experience in the base to meet in the mess hall, no exceptions, so guard roles can be distributed. Sincerely, Head of Security. 3 years of experience, I guess that's me, I thought, still recovering from the past 2 days. When I got to the mess hall, I saw Heinrich, Carl, and a few others that I didn't recognize. Hey guys, did you see the note? I asked them. Yeah, I saw it, but I don't know what post I'm going to be assigned to. I wonder what... All right, you idiots, the High Commander suddenly yelled out. I put your roles up on the wall. Now do your duties unless you're too dumb to even read. And with that, he left and slammed the door shut. Still in shock, I said to Heinrich, well, there's your answer. And I went to view the paper. Guard pose. Hans, base perimeter. Fritz, Charles, Robert, and Carl, watchtowers. Heinrich, server rooms. Jason, archival room. Failure to appear at your post will result in severe reprimands. Well, Heinrich, I'll see you tomorrow, I said to him before I walked off. Maybe I'll finally get some answers tonight. It took about 5 minutes to get down to the archival rooms, and I ran into Heinrich on the way there. Hey, where are the server rooms? He asked. Head down there and take a left. My post is here, I said. The room was big with 5 doors that read Security Room, National Archive, Technology Archive, Scientific Archive, and Medicine Archive. Why one base would need 4 archival rooms was beyond me. When I entered it, I found a monitor linked to camera systems, a Mossberg 500 shotgun in a rack with 20 boxes of ammo, an earpiece, and of course a list of rules. Just by luck. Here's what they said. Archival room rules. If you're reading this, it means that you were picked up for the archival room guard duty. Feel free to read any documents that you wish, since they were declassified decades ago. Please follow these rules to best carry out your job. Rule number 1. There will be a check-in every hour. Be sure to answer. Rule number 2. You need to patrol each room at least once, but if you hear growling coming from the other side of a room door, skip it and reinforce the door. Reinforcements can be found under the desk. Rule number 3. By now, you would have heard of the WLF. Make sure to check the camera system every once in a while operatives carry equipment that jam electronic devices. If you see a camera in any room turn static, barge right on in there and shoot anything that moves. Rule number 4. Between 11:40 and 1:30, only view the cameras in each room. If a camera goes static, don't worry, whatever's in there will get them. Rule number 5. If you hear someone knocking on your door, say, "Ein Minute," and they'll leave you alone. Rule number 6. As stated before, read what you wish while on patrol, but please keep patrols no more than 10 minutes long. Rule number 7. If you see none of your fellow squad members while you're stationed here, if you see anyone while on patrol, immediately order them to identify themselves. If they don't, shoot them. Rule number 8. If you see a little girl in a red dress on any of the cameras, shut off the camera and reinforce the room door. Rule number 9. If you hear your earpiece broadcast in an unbelievably loud sound, take it off and crush it with your foot. You will not be reprimanded, but you won't be able to tell if WLF operatives are nearby. Rule number 10. If you hear laughter coming from any room, run to the security office and reinforce the office door. Do not remove the reinforcement until the end of your shift. Note: if you manage to capture an operative, alert security and they'll come and take him or her away. You're only going to be here for one night, since extra personnel will arrive in the morning. But until then, stay safe. Okay, so I'll only be here for one night. I thought as I pondered my life choices, well, at least I'll finally get some answers here. I decided to head into the technology archive room first, since I had mechanical parts for my delivery guard duty and I'm just curious. Well, no WLF operatives have showed up yet. But I did learn lots of interesting things like the development of the German military and many of the stuff that we use. I was about to move on when this came through the earpiece. "Guardsman, this is your commander, report in." "Jason, redacted here, nothing on my end," I responded. "Well, copy that, Jason. Be aware that we got reports of operatives around the perimeter, and a suspected sighting in the server room 1, so be alert." "Yep, I got it," I said. And then I moved my way to the National Archives when I heard a growl from the other side. Number 2, you need to patrol each room at least once, but if you hear growling coming from the other side of a room door, skip it and reinforce the door. And so I booked it back, and sure enough, there were door barricades under the desk. I ran back towards the National Archives, and as soon as I had finished setting up the barricade, a huge thump rang out, and I was physically pushed back, and I landed on the floor. And thank God. After noping out of the National Archives, I checked the time, and it was 11:45. So I headed back to the office and I watched the cameras, and there was static on the camera in the scientific archive. I wasn't worried, in fact, when I heard the growling, screaming, and frantic shooting. I couldn't help but smile, as those WLF operatives had met a hideous demise. At 1:36, I grabbed my Mossberg 500 and headed to the scientific archive to find any survivors, and to my disbelief, there was a female operative that had survived. But after she had both stabbed and shot me 2 times, I couldn't believe it. If you manage to capture a WLF operative, alert security and they'll come and take him or her away. So I searched her and found a file named Swallow Song. I couldn't make anything of it, so I decided to give it to the commander when I reported in. "Come in," I said. "I have a female operatives in my custody, and I'm requesting pickup." "Roger that, Jason. Send in a team to your position. Good work, by the way." And so I took her back, but we didn't talk much. But we stared daggers at each other until the security team came, with the commander, and took the operative away. And I also showed them the file that I had found as well. "Well, okay, I'll look into it, but nice work tonight. I'll be sure to tell your sergeant about your performance." I thanked him, and the rest of my shift was peaceful. Now, I'm in the medical ward to recover. I wonder if Carl went through the same situation. Hey everyone, I'm back from a busy night that was possibly related to Operation Swallow Song. So once again, the Sarge came up to me and said, "Hey, there's the guy that I wanted to see." And I said to him, "Hey Sarge, did you get anything from the operative that I had captured yesterday?" "No, she committed uninstall life before we could question her, but we're currently debunking theories on what this all is." "Is it related to the 262? Possibly, but let's not jump to conclusions yet. There's still a high security risk at the moment, so I need you to guard the reactor chambers." "I'm sorry, the reactor chambers?" I asked in disbelief. "Relax, you'll get special equipment when you get there. I'll see you tomorrow." "What? No. I said to organize a..." I heard him yell as he walked away. Luckily, I'm 2 days from retiring. I thought as I made my way down to the reactor chambers that shouldn't exist, by the way. When I got down there, there was a heavy blast door that had a note on it. "Caution. The security room is the only safe place from radiation outside of this area. The security room is beyond this door. There will be an airlock attached to the room. Repeat, the chambers are extremely radioactive, and you will die if you aren't protected. Authorized personnel only." Yeah, no kidding, Sherlock. I thought as the blast door automatically opened. The security room wasn't that big. Just a monitor hooked up to a couple of cameras, a panel controlling the chamber doors, a tactical hazard suit. Yes, those are a thing. An M4 battle carbon in a case and a file of German nuclear history for some reason. A earpiece and the rules, of course. Reactor room rules. While it may seem like this post will be uneventful, trust me, that can change in a dime if allowed. And these reactors are 2 decades old, so you better follow these rules. Rule number 1. Do not leave this room without your suit, obviously. Rule number 2. Take the provided carbon when out of patrol to each of the chambers. There may be unexpected guests that you may encounter. Rule number 3. The chamber doors are controlled by the buttons on the panel. Rule number 4. If any of the chamber doors open on their own, immediately close the door using the respective button and seal all the doors using the lever. Rule 5. If WLF operatives are in the area, the cameras will show static, so go to the relevant chamber and deal with the situation. Rule number 6. If you are patrolling any of the chambers and if you see the door close, immediately pull the override lever and haul bot back to the security booth. Rule number 7. If you see a flashing red light on a camera in any chamber, shut off said camera and lock all the doors. It's not a meltdown. Rule number 8. If you hear crying or screaming coming from any chamber, lock that chamber's door. Rule number 9. All doors are marked with radioactive. If you find a door with biohazardous material in it, skip that chamber. Radiation isn't the only thing inside. Rule number 10. We have 4 chambers marked 1 through 4. If you see a 5th door, ignore it and contact base security. Rule number 11. There are no workers that are working during your shift. If you see anyone, inform security immediately and lock yourself in the office. And for the love of God, don't talk to them. They are not human. Rule number 12. Be sure to check the spent reactor power rods in each chamber. The list of spent rods will be on a list somewhere in the room. If the number of spent rods are less than the number listed, simply remove a rod, as one will definitely be spent. If it's over the number, run. Rule number 13. The most important part. If you see shadows in any of the chambers, turn off the camera before they notice. If they so much as glance at the camera, they've noticed. Note: if your suit is not at the specified location, contact the Special Engineer Corps, and they'll resolve the issue. If you need more details, feel free to read all the papers in the file to be more educated. Do not disregard these rules, or radiation will be the least of your concerns. Sincerely, Special Security Ops. Thank God I have to put up with this crap for 2 more days, my thought as I suited up before my shift. So, as my cancer chances increase every hour, it was time for my first round. Chamber 1 was first, and it was mostly uneventful, with all the reactor rods accounted for with no extras. And the next was more eventful, with the doors automatically closing behind me. Number 6. When you are patrolling any of the chambers, if you see the door close, immediately pull the override lever and haul butt to the security booth. I nearly lunged for the lever because I nearly forgot what to do. I pulled the lever and ran for it. After about 30 minutes, the camera in chamber 3 showed some static. Well, time to take out the trash, I thought with a smile, as I grabbed the carbon off the rack. When I entered the chamber, I found 4 WLF operatives trying to heist some spent reactor rods. Big mistake. I took them out without hesitation. And then I found something odd about Operation Swallow Song. A WLF operative had another file in him. This one described what the Schwalben are. The Schwalben are high-tech super soldiers apparently, and they use ammunition made from spent uranium, which has immense penetrating power. The Schwalben and the WLF are apparently a surviving Nazis group, and they plan on restoring Germany to Hitler's dream. After the cleanup crew came and cleaned up the mess, I heard crying coming from Chamber 4 as I was preparing to enter. Number 8. If you hear crying or screaming coming from any chamber, lock that chamber's door. So I relocked that thing and slid a conveniently placed metal bar across the door to deadbolt it. A second later, an animalistic scream and repeated slamming came from the door, and I was glad that the blast doors were built like tanks. After another half hour, I saw some more static, so I headed to the chamber. Nothing could have prepared me for what I had found. It was 2 people in exosuits trying to steal some more spent rods. It's the Schwalben. Crap. Thankfully, I will give you my all suddenly came through the speaker, and before I continue, I highly recommend that you listen to this song so you can get why I felt so epic at that time. The first one charged me using an extendable blade from its wrist, but it missed and slammed into the wall. The second one shot at me with an LMG. Gotta remember uranium bullets, and I shot back. And then the one with the blade again charged at me and nearly got me, but I dodged out of the way and made him hit the guy with the LMG, knocking them both unconscious. And then I took both out and hit him in the head. By the time security arrived, my shift was over, and I went to debrief with the head of security. I'll post again once I've figured everything out and I get this dang suit off. Hey everyone, so I was assigned to a new squad tonight, and it got more intense than ever. The Sarge came up to me and said, "Okay Jason, for your last 2 nights, I want you on the Omega Black Squad, our elite division. I don't know much, but they'll tell you more when you get there. Good luck." So I headed underground to the facility housing the Omega Black Squad. And once I was there, a gorgeous woman with green hair and eyes greeted me in the hallway. "Hey there, Jason," she said a little too enthusiastically. "I'm Selena and I need to give this to you." "Okay, so where do I?" I was interrupted by Selena giving me a bone-crushing hug. "What are you doing?" "Sorry, but you're really handsome and I've never seen a new person in like 2 years. Also, head to the break room. That's a map that I gave you. See you soon," she said as she walked off. Good God, I thought as I headed to the break room. When I got there, I didn't see anyone, but there was a Chris Vector machine gun, an earpiece, and rules which I could tell were written by Selena. Initiation instructions. "Hello, Jason. As per usual standards, all new members must undergo an initiation in order to be formally acknowledged by Omega Black. If you tell anyone, we will deny all knowledge of you and any procedures performed. Now the job is easy. Patrol the facility and there will be people with you. These rules are to ensure your safety. Rule number 1. Start a patrol every 30 minutes. Rule number 2. I will be in the security office at all times. If you see me in the hallway like how I greeted you today, ignore it. Rule number 3. You will see a ghostly white man in a two-piece suit with long arms. Do not show any signs of fear, and he'll leave you alone. Rule number 4. If for some reason you need to enter the security room, say the code word Alpha and I'll let you in. Otherwise, I'll shoot you. Rule number 5. The 3 members that will be with you are Fritz, Charles, and Hans. We do not have a member with the name Kruger. If Kruger is spotted, run to the break room and lock the door. Rule number 6. There will be a skeleton crew of workers in the labs and on janitorial duty. You are encouraged to talk to the janitorial staff, but don't disrupt the lab workers. Rule number 7. If you're patrolling and hear a female scream, haul it back to the break room and remain there for the rest of the night. Rule number 8. If you need to round a corner or enter a room, but you don't know what's waiting for you, ask me to check since I can see you on the cameras. Rule number 9. You can trust the janitors. They'll provide you with advice and warnings. Just be respectful, and don't knock down the wet floor signs. Rule number 10. You'll get a Chris Vector SMG, but never shoot anything that hasn't engaged you first. Rule number 11. If you hear the elevator stop on this floor, enter and make sure that there's no blood in it. If there is, continue on your patrol, but say a prayer every 5 minutes. The type of deity doesn't matter, but make sure you say it in a clear and understandable voice. And finally, if you ever feel the need to chat, I'm always open to conversation. Sincerely, Selena. So, what do you say? Said a voice behind me and I nearly fell over. It was 3 heavily armored people with Chris Vectors as well. Oh, okay, I'm ready, I said in response. Great, your round starts soon, don't be late. Fritz, I think, said. Don't worry, I'll be with you, it's a 2-man job. So after around 20 minutes of waiting, Fritz and I started our first round. It was mostly uneventful with Selena guiding us from the security room. The next round was more intense. The slender man in the two-piece suit appeared in the hallway when I was minding my own business. When I turned around, there he was. 3. You will see a ghostly white man in a two-piece suit with long arms. Do not show any signs of fear until I leave you alone. I was terrified. It had no face and no hands, but I was determined not to show it. After what was far too long, he simply vanished. Jason, can you hear me? Selena yelled into my earpiece. I saw the slender man on the camera, are you okay? I'm good, I replied, except I may have wet my pants a little bit. Thank God. Fritz reported you missing 5 minutes ago. Head back to the break room, he's waiting. After I apologized to Fritz for delaying the check-in, I went back on patrol. I was getting curious, so I said to Selena, how long have you been on Omega Black? About 3 years, and as I said, you're the most handsome person I've ever met, she said. Ahem, Fritz suddenly blurted out. Charles and Hans were bent double with laughter. If you 2 lovebirds have finished flirting with each other, then do your freaking jobs. Oh, okay. You could practically hear the embarrassment in her voice. After trying to bleach that event from my memory, unsuccessfully by the way, I finally got some answers. I found a file named Cerebral Cortex Interface System, which, to quote, allows the user to transfer his or her thoughts and memories onto a computer system, but the user will be dead. There was a sheet of paper attached to the file that said this. This classified document details the steps to transfer one's conscious onto a computer system. Pros. Disabled can be free. People near death can be saved. People transferred into the system can control the base systems as efficiently as a human brain. The subject can talk to whoever was controlling it. The cons. The subject dies after transfer. The subject can't transfer between systems. Can't jump from a PC to a laptop. The subject must be mentally stable. The subject can be corrupted by computer viruses. Dear God, I thought, this can't be real, right? After about 2 hours, my shift was over and I debriefed. I'll update you all soon. System online. Location, Site Omega, the Black Forest, Germany. Date, 7/21/20. Time, 16:30. Begin transmission. Hello, I've changed, and if you have questions, well, let's just say that I have no mortal boundaries anymore. After my last post, everything went wrong. I followed the rules and yet everything was wrong. Allow me to start from the beginning. It was the day after my last post and I had one more job left, which was to guard the redacted test labs as part of my former duty as a member of Omega Black. Now, what was in the labs? It's censored, redacted, data expunged, and the cerebral cortex interface system. When I entered the lab, a note written by Selena was on the security desk. Hey Jason, for your final night, we ask you to guard the redacted testing labs. You just need to make sure that the WLF, yes I heard, don't make it in. Just stay safe and you can ask me out when you're done. Sincerely, Selena. After I read the note, I started my usual patrol route. The rules hadn't changed from last time. 30 minutes had passed when I saw a WLF operative attempting to enter lab number 1. I dealt with him with minimal issues and went on as usual. Then, at around 11:50, I felt a sharp pain in the base of my head and I passed out. Get your butt up, said a voice in front of me. I didn't capture you for you to just sleep around. What the heck are, I began, and then I saw the WF logo on his sleeve. Who I am is not important, he said. What is important is your information on the inner workings of this base. You killed 7 of my operatives, 7, and that means you have many things stored in that head of yours and I need them. I'm not telling you anything, I said, and I'm definitely not telling you what's in there. Hey Jason, what's going on? Fritz suddenly appeared behind my captor. Fritz, shoot him! I yelled before I bolted away. I could hear Fritz unloading at my captor and his forces, but I didn't escape unharmed. A spray of bullets hit my side and one punctured an artery. Ah, dang it, I said through gritted teeth. And then suddenly the slender man appeared in front of me. Luckily for me, I wasn't afraid of him, but the same couldn't be said for my pursuers. What the heck? One of them sputtered out. As I ran away, I could hear them shooting and getting ripped to shreds behind me. And then 2 more showed up in the hallway to the left. One of these super soldiers yelled at me. As I approached the cerebral cortex interface system, a bullet hit me in the lung and I fell over. I swore. Now the interface system was the only thing that could save me now. As I prepared myself for the transfer, a voice ran out from the other side of the door. In there, get the freaking door open. I hurried with the preparations as the voice said. Set the breaching charges. We need to get this door open. I pressed the button and everything went black. I saw as the security forces dealt with the WLF. I saw as they found my body. I saw as Selena cried her eyes out. I saw as they buried me with the Iron Cross. Now I shall control these systems and this base shall become great. For I am no longer Jason Redacted. I am Rasputin, the Kriegsmaschine. End transmission. Time 23:30. System status, standby mode.